Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. We are the weirdos, mister.
Black as night, erase death from our sight. White as light, mighty hectate make it right. I myself am strange and unusual. Cast a circle, spark some incense, and grab a cup of tea because it's time for the Cousins Coven podcast. I'm Sharon.
And this is Wendy. Welcome back to the Coven, you guys. As always, we are so happy to have you here.
Yay, another witchy Wednesday. And thank you to all of our listeners who have been giving us messages. They look forward to this day so much because of our podcast coming out. So we appreciate you guys.
It's amazing. It's so amazing. Like, we got our first Amazon wishlist gift. So a big thank you to Liz. That's going to help us out so much. We got these cool lapel mics so that when we start doing our videos, we're going to be all set.
Yes, thank you so much, Liz. Your love was greatly, received, and so many warm and fuzzies. And now we have something to push us forward to the future and future projects. So thank you so much.
Yes. And I can't wait because, we're going to try to use those on Patreon so we can do videos and stuff like that. So that is huge. So guys, if you want to join Patreon, last week you heard one of our episodes. That's what they're like. Sometimes they're a little bit crazy. Like, we divulge information that we normally would not even talk about. That's what Patreon is all about.
Yes, and in the future, I know we look forward to doing maybe pick-a-card readings and more tarot card readings together because it's something we'd like to do when we were in person, and now we're trying to get the tech to be able to do that apart and share with you guys and do readings for the listeners because we love answering your guys' questions, giving you insight, and doing cards together. So there's just like so many things on our to-do list.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep expanding, and we love all the love that we receive. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And don't forget to check out our merch site too. We have that special running towards the end till the end of September. And today, as this airs, it's September 23rd. So just running out of time to get any merch there, you guys. And also today our newsletter goes out. So if you haven't had an opportunity to sign up for that, make sure you do that through our website. We list it in the show notes below. So if you want to click on our website, it's linked there, and just sign up for that newsletter.
Yeah, we like to do kind of seasonal little updates to your email about just witchy things and metaphysical things and just kind of what we're going through, and share that with you guys as the seasons come.
Yeah, absolutely. So enough of that little catch-up stuff. I have an actual fun thing that happened this week that I wanted to share with you.
Awesome.
I had just dropped my daughter off at work. I've been teaching her how to drive, so that's been my own little scary thing as an adult to be teaching another adult how to drive.
I've never been on the other side of it. I've only been the teen who's terrified as well.
So I was driving home after that, and I like to do a lot of deep breathing in the car after I'm done so that I can kind of shake off any of my nerves. So I was doing that. And as I was pulling down the road to my house, I saw kind of this shadow, and it was really sunny outside. So there was a shadow from up above, and I looked up, and it was just this giant bird. I think it was a raven.
My dog was not having it.
She's like, no more birds. Anyways, it was so big. And my daughter's car is kind of on the smaller side. So the wingspan of the bird was bigger than the car.
What? Like you found a thunderbird or what?
I don't think it was a thunderbird. I'm going to say it was a raven. Like,
okay. Scaling it back.
I just think it was huge. And then it did this kind of acrobatic thing where it was flying down below. And I remembered on our episode a few weeks back when you were talking about spirit animals, and you said that the raven represented bringing news. I remembered you saying that it was going to bring some sort of news. So I'm still kind of waiting for that. And I'm like anticipating and trying not to think that it's going to be bad news. No. But I'm like, what is it going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of took the news could be more hopeful situation. And because you
Right.
are going through a move, you're in that place of being like, okay, we got to get in kind of survival mode because shit is changing and we need a home. Home is essential to life. Where are we going to live? Like, that's a very important thing. And so when it's up
Yeah.
in the air, it can be exciting, it can be scary, it can be all the things.
Right.
It's a lot of work, is what it is. And so
Totally.
I'm thinking for you, you're going to know maybe like by the time you're settled, that's a big thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. I'm looking forward to some good news, my man.
Yeah. I mean, the holidays are coming.
Yeah.
Samhain is coming. There's going to be the
Yes.
veil between the worlds is thinning during Yule and Halloween. So we have like a lot of spiritual energy shifts. We have a lot of cool signs and omens to be paying attention to, I feel like, from ancestors. And so we'll see if we get more ravens or will we be getting more answers, really.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. I know that for Samhain, I have a friend who is coming to visit, and she's staying. I should say it's my daughter's friend, but she's my friend too. And so I'm hoping that my daughter has her own place, so they're going to stay over there, and I'll go over and have sleepovers. I'm just really excited since my friend is visiting, and it's just going to open up all these doors for us to do these fun kind of witchy things because they're coming here, and I'm just like ready to give this lesson of magic to them. So I'm just like, yes, let's get this done.
Yes, it's always fun to look forward to collaboration with
Hmm.
like-minded people and
Hmm.
really amplify your energy and just, empower each other that you're on the right path and inspire the path. Like you can kind of like pull apart the trees and be like, "Hey, did you ever think about looking into this?" And then boom, set someone off in a new direction. So
Right,
I love
right.
I love collaborating with young baby witches and kind of
Yeah,
just like answering any questions and being a guiding hand. So
yeah,
fun
just
times.
very fun. So we have a really fun episode today because we are talking about weird, wild mushrooms.
Yay! A topic I feel like we've always been interested in. Like, there's just times where we want to talk about nature because nature is weird and wonderful.
It is. It's totally weird and wonderful.
So I don't know about
Uh,
you, but I love mushrooms. Like, I love eating mushrooms.
I have kind of a love-hate relationship with mushrooms because I like looking at them and I love touching them, just seeing what they're all about. But I have never been a big fan of the way that they feel in your mouth or the way that they
Oh,
taste.
the texture? Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to say, like, for me, mushrooms are so tasty, tasty, tasty. Like when I wasn't eating meat, they're the one thing that like actually kind of tasted like meat to me. I
Mm.
had these like mushroom tacos, these street tacos. They were so good. Or just like getting a mushroom cap, substituting as a meat patty. It's like the most wonderful thing ever. And so right now, I'm in the mood for like a mushroom Swiss burger. I'm trying to figure out where I can go in Oregon to get me some real good mushroom Swiss burgers.
My house.
Your house?
Yeah, I can cook them very well. I just don't prefer to eat them.
Hmm.
But I've grown to like them a little bit more as I've gotten older. But yeah, not my favorite, but I do.
Asami is like kind of speaking for me. She's like, "Ugh, how could you not? How could you not appreciate their taste?" I don't. I
But
don't even know.
it's hilarious. But I do know what to pair them with, and I know like how to cook them and can make a good mushroom burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a disclaimer too, like, yeah, we're going to talk about mushrooms that are tasty, but we're also going to talk about like mushrooms that you can find in the forest. And I am not a mushroom expert. So, like, a disclaimer, we are not saying you should go out in the woods and just pick random mushrooms and eat them or even touch them. Like, they could be
Right.
poisonous just by touching them. So, I really wouldn't recommend any of that. Like, if you don't know anything about mushrooms, just leave them alone.
I'm like, yeah, because if you touch it and it's poisonous, and then bam, you're just tripping balls.
Bam. You don't know. There's some that are
Yeah.
apparently like really toxic and can just like
Mhm.
slowly kill you. I was
Right.
watching this video of a woman who made a mushroom stew and thought she knew what she was picking, but at the end there was like just this bulb, and apparently if that white shroom had a bulb on the bottom, it was the poisonous kind. And so
Oh
she ended up like taking a nap and just feeling like super sleepy and like almost died from the whole experience, but luckily was able to get medical help in time. So
my gosh, that's
yeah.
crazy.
I honestly wanted to look up poisonous mushrooms, but I ran out of time. So that's a whole side thing I'm not even going to be really getting into
Yeah.
on my end of it today.
Okay.
But I did look up weird mushrooms, and I have some fun weird mushroom facts.
Okay, so tell me.
So they're, like the bright red and white mushrooms, those like iconic, cute little toadstool mushrooms.
The Smurf ones? Yes.
Oh, that's so cute, like Smurf houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the name for those is Amanita muscara. Probably butchered that. But they're also slightly poisonous, fun fact. So I don't know what's going on with the Smurfs. Maybe that's why they're all blue. They have this weird poison and they're living in this cold community getting poisoned. But it's not enough to shut down vital organs. It's just enough to cause someone to lose their equilibrium. And so if you eat the skin of these mushrooms, it'll actually make you feel larger or make the world feel bigger so that you feel smaller.
Like in Alice in Wonderland.
Yes! Oh my god, yes. So basically like Alice in Wonderland, where if you eat one half of the shroom, it makes you like grow super tall. Another comparison would be like Mario. Like, you know how he eats those little mushrooms and he gets larger? So it's kind of like that. So I don't know if the people who are working on this artwork, not artwork, but the game and Alice in Wonderland, like the authors and the creators, did they know that about mushrooms, or is this just a weird synchronicity?
That's so cool. I love it.
So those mushrooms are probably my favorite. I love them. They're just too cute. It's like it's like super trendy now in Animal Crossing to have mushrooms everywhere in your village and your island.
Funny.
And I definitely do that. I have these giant toadstools everywhere.
It's funny because in Stardew Valley, they have mushrooms too, and you can even have a mushroom cave or all these mushroom plants and stuff that you can grow all over your farm.
That is so cute. I love how mystical Stardew gets, like even with fairies and crystals. And don't they have like this like green tea ceremony?
Yes, yeah, they have a tea ceremony. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Love that game.
I love video games. So I have another mushroom that's actually unnamed. So I'm going to call it the Big O.
Okay.
It's a mysterious Hawaiian mushroom species that was discovered 600 to 1,000 years ago on lava deposits. And to me, it's crazy that no one's named it. But it looks brightly colored, kind of like yellow and white, and it's phallic shaped. And there's been some studies that have suggested that when it's smelled, it causes instant orgasms in women.
Sorry, that's great. Let's have those.
I know. And so like more than half of the female tests that were in the test or whatever, they had a simultaneously orgasm when they smelled it. And then when the men would smell this mushroom, they said it smelled awful. And so the scientists said there's a significant sexual arousal characteristic in the odor of this unique mushroom. And the results suggest that the hormone-like compounds present in the portion of the spore's mass may have some similarity to human neurotransmitters during sexual encounters. What does that mean? I don't even know. But what I know is it'll give you an orgasm, ladies.
You're like seeking it out. I just need this. I need this.
Yeah, do you think I could Amazon Prime that? Like from Hawaii? Get this mushroom delivered?
You're like, Mom, stay out of that drawer.
I don't know. She opens it. It's good for the whole household. I think that orgasms, aren't they supposed to be good for your whole body and your mental health and everything?
Yes,
and stress?
everything.
Yeah.
Help you live longer.
Oh, okay.
And stay youthful, young, vitalized. So, yeah, I mean, they're not bad for you.
Yeah, I'll take one of those mushrooms.
Yeah.
This next one, I also would love to freaking find. One of its nicknames is the chicken fungus or the chicken mushroom. It's an orange mushroom. And then to me, when I look at it, it kind of looks like a stack of Pringles, but they're like wavy and they're orange, giant, kind of growing out of the trees. They can be found all over the world, but apparently they taste like fried chicken.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yes, and I'm like, I already told you I love mushrooms, and I freaking just like, oh, this makes my mouth water. It's referred to as the chicken of the woods, which just sounds weird and kind of creepy. It's most commonly found in eastern Northern America or North America. And it's sort of like a tasty piece of fried buffalo chicken. So it kind of has a lemony, meaty taste. Some people say it's really chicken, like its namesake. Others are going to say it's more like a crab or a lobster. Either way, I'm down to get this chicken mushroom.
So not poisonous. And do they
No.
serve it in restaurants? Do you know?
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know of any off the top of my head, but like,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's just locals who are cultivating this and probably at
Mm.
like the hipster restaurants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, how do we get our hands on the chicken mushroom? And can I get that to go with the big O? Like, I'll take one of each.
I love it.
Gonna start with the chicken, then go to the O. I don't know. Either way, it's a
Yeah,
good day.
I love it.
And aside from that, just like another weird mushroom fact that I saw is that there's 75, actually more than 75 species of mushrooms that glow in the dark.
Oh my
and they're like
gosh.
bright neon yellow, blues, like all these crazy colors that I thought was more like fictional, you know?
Mhm.
But it's an actual thing. And I'm just like, why don't I have these in my backyard? That would be so cute.
Right? I was like, I need a pot of those to just put in the window and then to have as my nightlight.
Yeah, that would be too
It's
cute.
so cool. I love that.
On a darker note, did you
Okay.
know that you can train mushrooms to eat your corpse?
What the heck?
It's kind of weird.
I mean, I'm not surprised because I know that you can use a mushroom mixture in like compost.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, to compost like
Break
waste.
things down.
Yeah, to break things down. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, apparently it's like that. And so there was this woman, her name's J. Rim Lee, and she developed this infinity burial suit. So this suit, it's embroidered with mushroom spores. And the idea is that when the body is buried, it's going to be put in this outfit and not in a coffin. And then the mushrooms, they're going to basically more effectively biodegrade the human tissue. So it's considered more efficient and ultimately more environmentally responsible than like, you know, being stuffed with chemicals or put in a box or even being like burned, which causes, pollution problems and things like that. So it's kind of morbid and creepy. I just think about like spores eating away at my cheeks and like just slowly decaying in this weird like ninja suit. But yeah, and do you want to know how
you wouldn't be there, so you wouldn't even think about it.
Right, that's the human ego fear talking. Like it's a little creepy, but all burial procedures can be a little creepy, I guess.
Yeah.
So the thing that creeps me out though about the idea of this, so in order to make this suit work, she's been feeding human toenail clippings, skin cells, and other bodily leftovers to shiitake and oyster mushrooms, basically to foster a taste for the human flesh.
Weird. So this is like almost like a cryptid kind of mushroom, if you think about it.
Yeah, like this is how you can have problems down the line. Like this is going to lead to Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors. And just like he's going to eat you.
I mean, it's kind of cool. I wonder if there are other, I mean, I know we've talked about cryptid plants before, but I didn't really look into that kind of part of it, but it'd be really interesting.
Right. Because I don't really understand how mushrooms think. And they're not even considered animals or food. They're considered fungi and like in their own class in and of themselves.
Right.
So what is their consciousness, you know?
Right. Well, all plants have consciousness. I learned that in school and science that I just took for, and this, I had to take that theoretical kind of science stuff. And they talked about plants and how plants have their own consciousness and all the tests that they did on plants and the response that plants can have to certain stimuli. So I don't doubt that mushrooms would do the same thing because it's just another type of plant.
Right. It is really weird because they can be spread out throughout this entire forest system underground, and they can still communicate and be considered one giant organism.
Right. Like a computer.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. There's the one in Oregon that I kind of wanted to talk about. It's the
Oh, yeah.
humongous, his kind of nicknamed the humongous fungus.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I found out about it was because I found this Google hoax photo of people standing under a giant toadstool in Oregon. And it kind of looks like an old Polaroid, like the grainy textures of it. It reminds me of my family's like old road trip photos.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, like I want to go here. And I told my mom about it. And she was like, yes, let's go to the giant mushroom in Oregon. And I was like, yes. And so like I looked it up and I came across the humongous fungus and found out that that was just a hoax photo that someone had doctored.
Oh, don't say that. That's not fair.
But the biggest mushroom is here. It just isn't that glamorous on the outside because it's under the ground, it's in the tree trunks, it's a part of the nature all around in this forest.
Oh.
And it's actually the oldest organism. It's estimated to be around maybe 8,000 years old to 2,000 years old. People call it the honey mushroom or the shoestring fungus. And it looks like white slime, either on the outside or within the bark of the ponderosa pine trees that are growing in this forest in eastern Oregon. And then underground, it has these black tendrils. And so those snake through underground and kind of connect them. And then during the fall, they like pop up in that little mushroom cap shape. And they could be a couple feet apart, but underground, they're all connected. This whole freaking forest spreading out, connected through everything. So like if a tree falls down somewhere far away, all underground, they're going to be traveling to go into that tree and then slowly like help it decay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super weird, and it's considered to be a parasite because once the humongous fungus gets inside of the tree, it is feeding off of the tree. But it does take years for the tree to like die, but it is basically taking away its life. And it has a set of cells that are genetically identical. They communicate with each other. And there's been all this DNA testing that's proven it's the largest single living organism in the world. So like when I was young, I thought that was the blue whale was the largest like mammal or whatever. But this is actually considered the largest living organism in the world. There's this humongous fungus.
That's so crazy.
I know, because it's like it's not something you would even like look at maybe and think, oh, what is this weird thing? If you don't know much about nature or whatever, like I wouldn't really know. I would just walk by and be like, oh, what one cute singular mushroom. I wouldn't think they were all connected.
Sounds like a B movie, like from the 80s. Like
humongous fungus.
Yeah, the humongous fungus. And it just kind of gets in there like body, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and just kind of eats everything.
I love that movie, Leonard Nimoy, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I love movies like that, like The Blob or Slime, like where it's just like the purple slime that's like slowly creeping on you, but they're like screaming. It's like you can get away from that. Trust me, just keep walking.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I do love like a movie that knows it's like campy and fun and can take you there. So look to Patreon coming soon. Wendy and Cher, the Cousins Coven and the Humongous Fungus.
Yes. Okay, so I wanted to talk about herbal remedies.
Cool.
Like mushroom magic, but not magic mushrooms.
Gotcha.
So, I guess the trick with any of these kind of herbal remedies is finding the right mushroom for the right ailment, because any mushroom that's out there that's not poisonous can help heal you with anything. And that's what's crazy. Like there's this huge movement right now kind of going on where people are taking these mushroom pills and they're filled with different types of varieties of mushrooms. And these help give people energy and better memory, and they can help you with pain and all these different things. So I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people have been using mushrooms to heal for many years. In fact, I found this story, just a brief story about how the Knights Templar used to use mold to treat wounds that were kind of oozing and yucky. And the reasoning was because it had this sort of kind of mold that was attached to the mushroom. And then I thought that was cool because, I mean, that's how penicillin is made, is like the fermenting of molds. So I guess the Templars used it with mushroom mold.
That is so weird. I mean, I love cheese, but the idea of using mold, like, and even eating it, it's just so weird.
It sounds weird, yeah,
Hmm.
but if it's going to heal you and not kill you, then that's good,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So, I also read some stories that like women in the season of the witch trials, they used to do kind of like these different things with mushrooms, and so a lot of times women would be kind of told that they were a witch, but basically what was happening is they were just eating these mushrooms that were poisonous, which would cause them to hallucinate.
Hmm.
And then they were murdered for that.
It's annoying that that's what the witch trials could be cast to, is just like
Right? They were just
making
doing
women
some,
trip.
right. Yeah. So sorry about that. um, okay. But here are some mushrooms that I came across that maybe you could find in any store. One of them is those white mushrooms that you see in the store. Those are called, well, like their genus name is called the Agaricus bisporus, and these are really good. So, like if you eat them a couple of times a week, they're supposed to be good for hypertension, which is just when your blood pressure is elevated. It's good for back pain, like the lower back pain, and also tendon pain that goes into your legs and like behind your knees. And so apparently you can also roast them in like a pan and then take that roasted mushroom, mix it with some roots of lily, like some lily root and linseed milk, which I'm not sure what that is. I should have looked that up. But apparently you can make it into this kind of poultice. And then that can be placed on zits and boils and open sores, and it will help heal that.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of fun.
I always saute my mushrooms. So at first I was thinking we were going to eat this mixture. I didn't know it was for your face, but I love that. Like literally
Right?
mushrooms can be used for so many things, and
Hmm.
knowing that they're really good for your diet is exciting. Like maybe I should just become a mushroom eater and eat nothing but mushrooms.
Yeah, and a mushroom grower.
And a mushroom grower.
Yeah. There's another mushroom called the shiitake. This one you can find in stores too. Um, its genus name is, just in case you're curious, is called the Lentinula edotis. Don't know if I said that right. But these mushrooms are really good for boosting up your immune system and also helping with seasonal allergies. And so
Oh,
it says that you should eat them twice a week.
dang.
And then you'll find that your seasonal allergies will be dampened, if not completely gone.
That is so cool. I never knew that about shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I have another one here called the reishi, and that's Reishi. And these help with your immune system, and they can help actually fight cancer. If you've been diagnosed with cancer, they can help you fight the cancer. Or if you have precancerous cells, it can actually destroy the precancerous cells just simply by eating them.
Damn, that is so
Um,
cool.
right? They can also go in, I guess they've got these, it provides some sort of antioxidant that helps heal your liver. So if you have liver damage, you would eat these, and then it would then in turn boost the immune properties in your liver or the antibodies in your liver, which would then help heal your liver.
Hmm.
And then it can be taken, I guess you can take these in pill form, liquid form, tea, powder. You can buy these over the internet. It's real simple.
Right. Probably even put them in an herb grinder, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. Like, honestly, I just am loving mushrooms. Like, I just love to see them outside when I come across them. I love to eat them.
Yes. Yes.
So I've never even
I,
looked into them. This is
the
probably the first time
healing.
I've, yeah, to know that you could do
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm. Another one you can get is called the cordyceps mushroom, and it's good for like lung disease or lung illness. It says that it can actually heal or help with an asthma attack or heal you from asthma. And I guess you can have this in tea or capsules, and you can find it at any health food store. And the last one I have is called the chaga. I just love that name so much. I'm like, chaga, a chaga mushroom. It's so cute.
That is. It sounds like a cute character from like a little 80s puppet movie.
Right. This fungus actually grows on the outside of a birch tree and it's completely black. So if you ever look it
Hmm.
up, it's really interesting. Like I've seen a birch tree with that on the outside, but did not realize it was a mushroom. I just thought that the tree was sick. Um, but this stuff actually helps slow the growth of cancer. It eats up bad cholesterol that's in your body. It can heal your skin from the inside out to combat the effects of aging.
Ooh,
So
put that on
that
my
then it
face.
right. Well, you wouldn't do that. You'd ingest it like in a pill form,
Okay.
and then it just kind of heals you from the inside out so that your skin just sort of looks younger, healthier, and then some of your wrinkles might disappear. I was like, why are we all not using chaga? Is this why some people age better than others because they're taking chaga pills?
You know, I have been looking into stuff on Amazon all the time, honestly, like vitamin supplements, this or that.
Hmm.
And mushroom supplements were like coming up.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen chaga on there. So there
Mm.
definitely are people who are in the know of the power of the mushrooms.
Gotcha. They just don't want it to be told, but now everybody knows because we're telling them.
I guess so. Yeah, it's out
Yeah,
there now.
not there now.
I mean, think about all those people who do the mushroom hunting and are, I don't even know
Hmm.
what you call them, but like there's a whole like subculture of mushroom
Right.
people.
In Oregon here, it's very popular to go to be a mushroom picker, and a lot of people go missing. I've read a lot of stories of mushroom pickers going missing. I'm like, why is that? Did
That
the
is
mushroom see
so
them?
weird. And remember that Bigfoot show we were watching last year, and the a
Yeah.
girl was like doing that, looking for mushrooms, like her usual camping kind of life, and she came across Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So what is that saying about mushrooms and their magical, I guess, essence of them?
Right.
So should we get into the lore that I do know
Yeah.
about that weird magic essence?
Tell me about some more.
So, fairy circles, I definitely had to look into for today's topic. I have always been drawn to mushrooms when I saw them outside as a kid. Like, even before I researched fairies or knew about pagan culture, there was something otherworldly about coming across mushrooms for me. I don't know. Did you feel that way as a kid?
Yeah. I mean, I did used to see mushrooms growing in my yard all the time when I was a
Hmm.
child. So
And
I
they
was
just like
like, hey,
pop up overnight, and it
yeah.
rains here, so that gives them like a really good
Mhm,
environment to just boop spring up, and there'll be like a
mhm,
circle of them out of nowhere. So it does feel like super weird and like meant to be. But I did find out like how that happens, like fairy rings and stuff. And it's
mm,
because the fungus is growing underground, and the fungus sprouts all of these little small threads in a circular
mm,
shape. And then typically like a year later, the mushrooms will pop out of the ground at the edge of the circle, creating this perfect like fairy ring, which they're typically called. And
mm,
so the circle will start in a small size, like a circumference, maybe like 33 feet in diameter. And then it becomes more stable as the fungus grows and it gets more food and it's like just developing underground. And so if you let that fairy circle go, they can just keep getting wider and wider and wider. And apparently there was this fairy ring in France that was over 700 years old and it was super freaking big.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, and like they can even intersect, so there could be like a field of circles upon circles upon circles, and they'll just keep spreading and spreading. So
Mm,
it's really cool. They're most commonly found in like grassy areas. It's good to see them, or not good to see them, but it's like the best time to see them would be like late summer or early autumn. So kind of like
mhm,
where we're at right now. And they'll usually appear after wet weather. And then so I was looking at different folklore to see what different people had to say about them. And
mhm,
so in the Celtic folklore, fairy rings were caused by fairies and elves just dancing in a circle. And that would be like left over after their night of partying, I guess, which is super cute. In German folklore, fairy rings were actually known as witches' rings, and they were left after witches would dance in a circle on Walpurgis night, which is a spring celebration taking place 6 months before Halloween. So, yay for German folklore and the witches.
yes, I love that.
Yeah, so witches' rings. I'm going to try to remember that that's one of their other names because I always think fairy circle or fairy ring,
Hmm.
but never
Hmm.
witches' ring. So in Scotland, it was believed that fairies would sit on the mushrooms and use them as tables for their feasts, which is really cute. It's like a pop-up restaurant.
It's adorable.
In Wales, the story is that the mushrooms were picked by the fairy folk and then used as parasols or umbrellas. So I don't know why they'd be in a circle, but that's just what they'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in Wales, even now, they say that the rings would signify an underground fairy village. And Welsh folklore also considers the rings as locations of fertility and fortune, and that they claim that the crops that'll grow around them and the livestock that are feeding nearby, they're all going to be like flourishing and prospering, that these rings, they bring about fertility.
I love that they're using it in a positive manner.
Yeah. Instead of just being like something creepy or to be feared, because there's both of that, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'd say that is one of the first ones where it's like wholeheartedly a good thing.
I love it.
In French folklore, it's believed that the circles are guarded by giant toads that will curse anyone that would happen into the ring. So complete opposite.
Complete opposite. They're like, do not lick this toad.
No, do not trust the toad. There are Dutch legends that say that the center is barren because there was a devil that was placing his milk churn there, and he'd be in the middle of the little circle and just churning away at his devil milk, whatever the hell that is.
Gross.
Yeah.
That sounds disgusting.
It sounds like a metaphor for him jerking it. Like, I don't know.
Like, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, that's a really phallic male, I think.
Yeah.
To be okay. Anyway, moving on from devil churning. There's an Australian mythology that's associated with dragons. So this one's different. They say that dragons are to blame for the appearance of fairy rings. And it's said that they burned them into the forest floor with their fiery tails.
My gosh.
Yeah. I don't even understand that one. I'm like, I don't see association with fire here when I see mushrooms.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if the earth were blackened, but usually in the fairy ring, it's so green and beautiful.
Yeah.
But maybe it's different because maybe it's in the desert area.
What I was reading about how the fairy circle works, the underground tendrils do dry out the middle of the circle. And so the middle of a fairy circle can get a little bit less green. Why the outer circle will be really lush and sometimes overgrowing and green. It's just the way that fungus is feeding off of it and getting the nutrients, So maybe in that area, it looks more barren. Maybe it looks more dried out. I don't know.
Interesting.
Right. But as far as all the negative stuff, they do say if you dare enter a ring, just in general, this is like a European kind of myth. It's going to warn you that you'll die young. That you might even become invisible to the mortal world, unable to escape the fairy ring, and that you could even be transported instantly into a fairy realm, which we all know is bad. You don't want to go into the fairy realm. They cannot be trusted. Missing 411.
Do we know that it's bad?
I don't trust the fairy realm. That's all I have to say right now.
Okay? I know you don't. I know. It's,
again, my control issues and my fear all getting triggered right now. And so they say if you go into the center, you'll lose an eye for your foolishness. And you might be forced to just dance around the fairy ring until you die of exhaustion or madness.
Oh my gosh. I just keep thinking, okay, portal, cool, but having to dance around the ring
forever. Yeah, and ever. It's like that plague where people were dancing until they died.
Yes, dancing plague.
So I don't know. Like I think how long would it take for you to dance into madness? Like if you're listening to music you like, it could take a long time. So for the first couple nights, you're having a great time.
You're just partying.
Yeah, you're partying,
eating mushrooms.
Fairies, drinking devil milk, having a witch dance.
I'm not drinking no devil milk.
That's where you draw the line.
Okay.
Fine. I'm like, if you're there, you might as well drink the Kool-Aid.
I guess. I just can't stop now. I can't stop laughing.
I don't know. I just see this like bright red goat devil man that like you see in the old woodcuts, like in the crop circles and
Okay.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's always this underlying or I don't even know the word for it, but there's always this overarching story of women, witches, devils, fairies
Yeah.
dancing in circles on Sabbats and it being evil. But I think that it's mainly tied to the Sabbats, it sounds like, and probably
Yeah.
tied to the celebrations. And maybe there were sacrifices at some of these events back in the day. I can't even say.
Right. I mean, I'd like to think there's no longer sacrifices going on, but to be honest, I don't know.
Right. Like how in the conspiracies about how politicians will get together and they do kind of like these weird Burning Man type situations, but they use like a stick man effigy kind of thing where it's just like in the shape of a human and it
Uh-huh.
sticks to me. That kind of freaks me out because I'm like, what is that stick man representing and where did he come from?
I mean, it depends on how they're using him. If
Mm-hmm.
we look at it in a positive light, maybe they're just trying to boost their own scores, which I mean, positive for them, not me.
Right?
Because I don't believe in the
Why
government.
judge these men for using magic? There's always been
Yeah.
these Masonic lodges that might seem kind of toxic. I guess that's the fear, is that
Hmm.
when all these men get together, they have, I don't know, a weird ideal of power and control, where I
Oh,
feel like that's where magic can get toxic.
yeah. 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 I mean, we've definitely seen that happen over and over again in cult
Hmm.
situations. So,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, I can agree that the government's a cult.
Right.
Damn it. We've all drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I don't even know how I got here thinking about mushrooms.
Sorry.
I
Yeah.
think it might be my fault. It's the fairy
I'm
circles. They took me here.
I took you here. Ah, that's
So that's
great.
really all the weird stuff I found about mushrooms. There's so much more that like I didn't get to. Like I did want to look at the poisonous ones because
Hmm.
I remember being very seriously told as a kid, "Don't touch the mushrooms, Sharon. Yeah, you can go look at them, but do not touch them and do not pick them. You don't know what they are."
Right, right. I do remember getting told that too, even in our own yard.
Right.
Like sometimes when the grass grows here, seriously, mushrooms grow in them. And I do remember being like, what is this? And my mom's like, do not touch that. We
Hmm.
don't know what it is. Don't eat it. Because sometimes I used to eat dandelions. And so I'm just such a weirdo.
I don't think I was ever that emboldened to eat a flower.
Well, but they're not poisonous. Dandelions aren't poisonous. They're actually good for you. We know that now, but
I was not about vegetables or any kind of thing as a kid, so I don't think I would
gotcha.
have gone for the flower, even if it was edible.
I
Um,
love vegetables. I still do.
yeah, now that I'm not just eating
Mhm.
canned veggies all the time, like that's all I ever got my vegetables from were
Oh,
cans as a kid.
gotcha. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. We had a little bit of both. And so I do remember loving vegetables, but you're right, not from a can. Like I always hated spinach until the first time I ever had it raw. And
Right.
then I was like, oh my gosh, what have I been missing here?
Yeah, like maybe Popeye had it wrong eating it from a can. Like that's just
Yeah,
not the way to go.
right. Right.
Yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm for mushrooms, but you are not for mushrooms, but you do love vegetables.
I do love vegetables, just not a big mushroom fan, but I think I'm just going to leave it as it's the texture of it. Like I
Okay.
didn't like the way that it's all chewy, which is weird. But to be honest with you, when I was younger, I didn't like meat either. So maybe if you're saying that they remind you of meat, that maybe that's why.
Yeah, like maybe if you were to try some of these different types
Right.
in a nice restaurant
Now.
environment,
Yeah.
you might be more down with it. I have heard
Right.
other people complain about the texture before, so I can
Mhm.
see that.
Yeah. And I always hated canned mushrooms. My
Oh
mom would
yeah.
use them sometimes, and I was like, ew, it tastes like rubber.
Whenever I go to the store, I genuinely would try to find shiitake mushrooms because that's the one I'd always hear about. But I always find
Hmm.
those white ones that you had mentioned first off. I've already forgot their
Hmm.
name. But like those are
Yeah.
the ones I find most commonly. So I love that you're saying that even those were good for you. And so
Yeah.
I'm just going to
Hmm.
look for more excuses to try to find mushrooms in restaurants and find mushrooms at the grocery store and incorporate them more into my diet.
Right. And I feel like most stores have a good variety now. Like when we were kids, I do remember seeing mushrooms in the store, but only one variety. And now when I go, I feel like the stores at least the ones that I go to usually have 5 or 6 different ones. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, there's a difference. I did not know.
Right. I wonder if
Mhm.
we could grow our own mushrooms.
Yes, yeah. They have these mushroom kits that you can get online too. That's real easy, like mushrooms in a box.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and
Do they
it's
need to be
everything's right
covered
there.
or
I believe that they're supposed to be in a dark environment,
right?
and so they'll tell you. So I have friends who've grown mushrooms in the back of their closet, like in their apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do it anywhere.
I'm all like, mm-hmm. I'm like, were those drug mushrooms or I just
No, no, no. They're just regular
Okay,
edible
so
mushrooms. Like the mushrooms in a box, they're supposed to be like the little mushrooms, but then you can take them and you can put them on salad, or you can put them like in your stir fry. So you would use them to cook up in like butter and oil or sesame oil. Yeah.
This
Kind of
podcast
thing.
is making me hungry.
You're like, darn you talking about food.
Yeah. I'm down for it all.
Yeah.
Down for all. Like whenever, okay, let's just talk about mushrooms and how they're adorable too. Because whenever I like to do fairy houses, I always like to get the mushroom like inspired
Mhm.
ones. I think
Yeah.
those are super, super cute.
Mhm.
And it just seems like recently it's become more and more of a trend. Like it used to be hard to find mushroom in fairy houses, and now I just find it anytime during spring.
Yeah. So here's a fun fact story about myself is that even though I hated eating mushrooms, I did love their appearance. And I don't know if that does go back to the Smurfs, but when I had my very first kitchen, I decorated it in mushrooms, like the
What?
1970s mushrooms. So I had
love.
like this mushroom little light plate that glowed in the dark. And then I had like mushroom jars, like the kind of jars, what are those called? Canisters, but they were in the glass mushroom shapes. And then I had mushroom plates.
Oh my
like
God.
You name it, I had the whole mushroom thing.
How the hell did you find that? Thrifting?
Yep.
That is so cute. I honestly love like kitschy vibes and like old school kitchens. I think they're so cute and bright and funky.
Yeah.
And I never even knew that there was like a mushroom line. I don't think I saw your kitchen at this phase.
No, this was like when you were really little. So
oh my God, I love that. Do you have any of it left?
No.
That is
my taste changed, and then I went into this Italian look, and then now I just have witchy stuff.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, so you had a mushroom phase.
Yeah, I had the mushroom phase.
I never ever had that many mushroom things ever. That's just too cute.
It was pretty fun. And the fact that I would find them, so I feel like I would just ask the universe for it at the time and it would come to me like randomly.
That's honestly the funnest thing about thrifting is like the find and the hunt. And then once you have it all, it's like meaningless.
It's you're like, oh,
yeah.
This is all going bye-bye.
Right, exactly. On to the new.
Yeah.
Stick with the journey. It's really not about getting it all.
Yeah. Wasted money.
Nah.
As I'm getting rid of everything because I'm moving right now. So I'm like getting rid of everything. Like I have literally gotten rid of so much that I don't have much left. It's kind of great actually and freeing.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I moved and I never regretted having less stuff because it's less stuff to worry about. So it just feels good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited because we have this really crazy after show that we're going to have, and I can't even talk about it yet.
Well, yeah, it's true. So today we are going to be doing an after show. We'll probably continue this conversation about mushrooms on the other side.
Yeah.
And maybe some more of the psychedelic aspects of mushrooms and things like that. So if you haven't joined us on Patreon yet, maybe come on over and say hi.
Yeah, we would love to have you.
But you can always find us every Wednesday for new episodes. You can check out our blog, cousinscoven.home.blog, if you want to look for our newsletter, look for any articles or other episodes. We also have our episodes up on YouTube and anywhere else podcasts can be found. And we'll see you next time.
Yes, may you find happiness in your heart, love for yourself, and join each other. Blessings to all.